Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 3rd of June. All right, now as we sort of crank into the Asian session here, now I'm just giving the market a bit of time to sort of open up and sort of work out what's going on. There's a load of geopolitical stuff floating around, and the major currency pairs technically, well, most of the pairs are completely diffused. If anything, there's just the safe haven play, which is dollar yen, moving to the downside, as well as dollar Swiss. Now, the dollar index itself is still within recent ranges, as are most of the other pairs. But the significant thing is the Aussie and Kiwi, which have just been angling lower, have sort of more gone into a sideways movement now as they sort of rally with the US dollar sort of drifting lower, particularly against the yen and the Swiss. All right, so what have we got going on? So the core market drivers, once again, we're going through a phase where geopolitical events are just dominating. We've now got the Mexico-US trade situation as well as the China-US. Okay, they're sort of picking fights with everyone at the moment. Brexit continues to battle away there as well. Now, if I just give you a quick bo peep at the news pages, you can sort of see what's going on. I mean, the focus, obviously, dollar yen, the suspected. I mean, the way they play it, the safe haven trade, it's like, well, you're sort of hiding your money in something across the pairs there, just trying to stay out of any sort of trouble. But, you know, it's not like, to me, it never made a huge amount of sense to get into the yen. But that's what everyone's sort of piling into. Mexico and US gear up for tariff talks. You've got the China and US clash again over the weekend. You've got Japanese manufacturing activity shrinking, and that's going to sort of work in towards, you know, the whole US-Japan trade talks, which are due to start anytime soon. So just having a look at the major currency pairs to see what's going on. Now, I'll come back to the MyFX Trading Hub in a second, but I did sort of say, you know, we're going to have, you know, low liquidity, high volatility to start the week, and that's what we're sort of seeing. Obviously, the Aussie dollar, let me just change that pen. Moving to the top side, we also have obviously, and that's just coming back up towards a resistance level. I wouldn't be resting my hat on that just at the moment because you can see dollar yen, Kiwi has sort of edged higher, probably a few stops above 65, 60 in the Kiwi. Here's dollar yen just cruising to the downside. Now it's moving quite easily because there's no support levels down here, right? So it is now just drifting around. You want to be have a massive risk appetite to start trying to work out where to get in down here. Now, euro still within recent ranges. Okay, we've got support down around 111.10 and resistance up towards 112. You know, we really need to see these geopolitical events really kick in to get this thing moving. Sterling, well, I guess overall it's going down, but sideways, you know, with being pulled from Brexit, we've got the US dollar drifting off and then all these trade issues. So hard to work out. And if you think trading stuff, have a little consideration for the Canadian traders out there who are getting sort of turned over on the loonie. The dollar CAD is all over the place. Oil's falling, but dollar CAD, well, the dollar's falling. And that's really, you know, that there's a whole massive breakdown, obviously, with the correlation with oil and dollar CAD at the moment. But, and that's, you know, tricky. This is Monday, right? Traders globally are trying to sort of price into the market all of these announcements and the various components that we've seen over the weekend. So let me just come back once again, just have a look where the major focus is, right? So technically, at the moment, we've got dollar yen and dollar Swiss, you know, cruising to the downside. As far as the fundamentals go, there's no change here. These fundamentals don't change. It's the geopolitical situation which is screwing things up. But to me, the ECB is still bearish, as are the RBA, who are expected to cut rates tomorrow. This is one of those weird ones, right? So you got the RBA interest rate decision tomorrow. They're expected to cut rates and the currency's rallying. The market's short for this release. So we may see the Aussie, you know, it could seriously pop above 70 cents today or early tomorrow as the market gets squeezed out before the actual sort of bearish event. All right, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. I'm holding my bullets at this stage wait for that. But the Aussie's getting pulled. The fundamentals are pushed aside as these opportunities sort of arise. Now, there's not much else to look for. As I said, Monday trading is generally, characterized with low liquidity and high volatility, especially when there's geopolitical releases over the weekend. Now, this looks like China and the US are starting to get aggressive with each other. That could play twofold into this, right? So you get the yen going lower. It's going to. I think there's only one outcome here, and that's a worse situation for China. They do not want to seem or appear weak to the US internationally, so they are going to fight here. But you know what? I think they've got more to lose than China, so than the USA, I should say. So, overall, I still expect Aussie and Kiwi to be the two currencies that get punished if there is massive tariffs put on China. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, because at the moment, the currencies are moving in different directions. All right, guys, it's going to be an interesting week. Now, just one quick little update before I leave. You may see on the upcoming events section here, we do have, I've just included, instead of including all the various releases, I've just included the ones that you need to be flat for those traders in the funded trader program. So just be aware of that. We do have the 3 separate traders meetings on Tuesdays now as well. Monday didn't seem to appear to work for most traders, and they are at a much more reasonable time, 7:30 p.m. in most centres. Now, and as I said, there's a couple of big things coming out this week. We've got the RBA, then it moves down to on Tuesday, Thursday, the ECB, and obviously Friday, non-farm payroll. So we've got plenty to play for, and this should, really give you understanding of when you need to be flat and when you don't need to be. So there's a really huge part of the week here where you can be running positions, so don't get yourself bent out of shape, worried about squaring up ahead of some of these releases. All right, guys, that's it from me. There'll be plenty more to come during the week. And, we'll see if we can't take some cash out of this market, even though we have all these geopolitical events going on. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll see you in the 247 trade zone. Cheerio.